The Buick Century was redesigned for the 1997 model year. Being assembled at GM's award-winning Oshawa plant, Buick's midsize sedan shared sheet metal with its sibling, the Regal, while offering traditional 6-passenger seating. In this episode, we're going to take a closer look at the 1997 to 2005 Buick Century and how Buick took an old, successful formula and improved it for their loyal, traditional buyers. So grab some cappuccino, kick back, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The 5th generation Buick Century had been on sale since 1982, utilizing the front-wheel drive A platform and offering a variety of body styles throughout its rather long production run. This generation shared the A-body platform with the Chevy Celebrity, Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra, and Pontiac 6000. The Celebrity will ultimately be replaced by the W-body Chevy Lumina. The Pontiac 6000 would carry on up to the 1991 model year, while the Century and the Cutlass Sierra remained in production. Although being long in the tooth, the Century and its platform mate, the Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra, managed to sell in good numbers during the early 1990s and proved both reliable and profitable to GM. Therefore, it was voted by the execs to keep the vehicles in production. 1993. By this time, development for a new generation was already underway. The upcoming redesigned Century would now utilize the revised W platform. The design was submitted and approved with Wayne Cherry as well as Wayne Cady being involved in the design process. The old A-body sedan featured a slew of engine options throughout its run, but it would close out offering just the L82 V6 and the LN2 inline-4. The inline-4 would be dropped, but the L82 was scheduled to remain in production and carry over to the new sedan. 1996. Since the Century nameplate would live on, production of the all-new model began this year via General Motors' Oshawa assembly. Production of the Sierra ended in August 1996, ultimately being replaced by the in-body 1997 Oldsmobile Cutlass. The 1997 Cutlass was marketed as an upscale version of the mechanically identical 5th generation Chevy Malibu. This model, however, would be short-lived, since it would only serve as a placeholder model to fill the void left by the Sierra until the all-new Alero arrived. The newly redesigned Century would be marketed to the same demographic as the previous version, mature buyers that were seeking a comfy, roomy midsize sedan. The station wagon from the previous generation would be dropped from the lineup. This downsizing of body styles was very similar to the Regal, which had also dropped its 2-door coupe variant from the lineup. The Century and the Regal were virtually the same vehicle for this particular generation. The primary difference between the two were engine options, seating configurations, and trim. 2 trims were available, custom and the nicely optioned limited, which were carried over from the A-body sedan.
Although there have been numerous changes in the Century since the first front-wheel drive model was introduced for the 1982 model year, the 1997 Century represents the first all-new version in over a decade. In just one model year, Buick engineers have achieved numerous changes in styling, safety and security, comfort, and performance.
The Century commanded a lower price tag than the Regal. That said, it had more modestly powered engines, not to mention had less features. Like its A-body predecessor, the W-body Century came equipped with a front bench seat and column shifter, allowing 6-passenger seating. The Regal, on the other hand, was marketed as the more sportier version of the two, with standard front bucket seats and a console shifter. Check out our Buick Regal episode for all of the details. Many believe the Century came with the Series 2 3800 engine, when in fact, between the two, it was the Regal that featured the 3800. The Century was instead powered by the L82 3.1-liter V6, generating 160 horsepower from 1997 to 1999. For 2000 to 2005, it featured the LG8 3.1-liter V6, producing 175 horsepower.
Hi, I'm Chuck McLennan. The 1997 Century features a world-class body structure which is classic and contemporary without being trendy. Starting with the classic Buick grille, the Century's purposeful stance and flowing sculptural lines reinforce the car's brand character and ensure that it will be attractive at first sight and beautiful for years to come. New designs and construction methods make for a safer, quieter ride. The 1997 Century is larger than its predecessor in almost every dimension to improve access, all-around roominess, and comfort. The new Century is longer, wider, and has a 2.5-foot smaller turning circle than the previous model.
The Buick LaCrosse, which also utilized the W platform, hit the showroom floor for the 2005 model year, replacing the Century and the Regal. There was a limited run of the Buick Century that included special trim produced for 2005, marking the end of the name. The final Buick Century rolled off the Oshawa assembly line on October 25, 2004. There was a Buick Century produced for the Chinese market. The car was known as the Buick New Century and was available from 1998 to 2000. It was powered by a 3-liter V6 engine with a 4-cylinder option being available. The 4 was paired with a 5-speed manual. This variant of the Century was short-lived, with slow sales being the catalyst. The Chinese spec Buick Regal replaced the New Century. Once the New Century ended in 2000, its nameplate was used as a trim level for the Chinese spec Buick Regal. Wayne Cady and Wayne Cherry both had their hands in the design of the 1997 Century and Regal. The designers mentioned looking for a shape that would have a long shelf life and how they avoided anything that was trendy or would otherwise cause the vehicle's design to age prematurely. Buick Century brand manager Anthony H. Durhake mentioned, "Buick's new sedan for 1997 is classic and contemporary without being trendy. It has a clean, enduring design with classic Buick themes. That's the essence of the Buick Century." Buick had a reliable market, conservative seniors that were traditional and loyal to the brand. That said, GM didn't attempt to stray from the conservative design or market the product to anyone under a certain age. Let's keep in mind, according to statistics, the average age of a Buick Century owner in the year 1997 was over 60. Either way, the tried and true formula worked, and Buick managed to sell a good number of these vehicles. Let us know if you've owned or driven a 1997 to 2005 Buick Century. Just like the Regal, I still see plenty of these on the road and plenty for sale in relatively good condition. As always, thanks for coming out to the show, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until next time, this is your host Rob, and thanks for tuning in to Antique Tags.